So this is a video just showing some of the basic capabilities of my control panel. I don't have the any labels on any of the front inputs, so I'm not sure how I'm going to do that yet, probably with some aluminum inlays or something along those lines. So the first green button here, this is the cycle start. So this is utilized to run the program that's loaded into the software at the time. Also is utilized to continue from a hold position. The yellow button is the feed hold button, and that will pause a running program. The red button is the cycle stop button, and the cycle stop button will stop the currently running program and return it back to the first line. So if you were to press the cycle start button again, it would run the program from the beginning of the file. The next four buttons that we have here are user configurable macro buttons. They're wired in, but I haven't added software support for it yet, so that's something that I'll do here in the near future. The green and red button are the spindle on and spindle off buttons, so those will allow you to control your spindle. Okay, so the next thing we have is an analog joystick. Right now it's configured to jog in the X and Y axes. I'll probably make it configurable to where you can choose which axes that the joystick is tied to. And then there's a 100 pulse per revolution MPG hand wheel. So this hand wheel will move in the negative direction of the axis once turned counterclockwise, and move in the positive direction once turned clockwise. So here, this knob is the axis selection. So right now I have it set up for X, Y, and Z, but the software is being designed to where it can operate with 6 axes. So I'll eventually add support for jogging with the hand wheel on all 6 axes, X, Y, Z, A, B, C. Here we have the unit selection knob, where you can choose from a thousandths of a unit, where the units are millimeters or inches, a hundredth of a unit, a tenth of a unit, or a full unit for every micro turn there of the MPG hand wheel. In the middle, this knob is the actual unit mode, so that's going to be choosing the run mode, so that will choose between inches, millimeters, and a velocity mode is what I call it now. It's the third mode, is a velocity mode. I'm not sure I'm going to leave the velocity mode in or not. I think it works pretty well in millimeters, to where the velocity mode doesn't seem to really be needed with the hand wheel. At top, we have the feed override and the spindle override, where you're able to dial in to the exact override values that you would like at runtime, which is pretty nice with the new version of Grbl. The 1.1 version supports real-time override, so these knobs allow taking advantage of it. And last but not least is, of course, the emergency stop button, which is currently controlled via the software, where it will just issue a feed hold and then issue a reset, whereas this button is also connected to an RCA down at the bottom of the control panel, so that if you have a power strip that is triggered via a relay, then you can have this actually cut the power to your steppers or cut the power to your controller board, however it may be. I don't have that hooked up to mine right now because my springs aren't acting right on my Z-axis, so if I lose power, then my router's going to plunge into the wasteboard, so I don't actually want it to cut the power when I hit the emergency stop button right now. Hopefully that'll get resolved once I upgrade my Z-axis. Alright, so the software itself, this is what it looks like when you first access the software, when you first turn it on. So what I'm going to do initially, since I'm inside an alarm state, is I'm going to issue a homing cycle. Okay, so now I'm homed, and I'm going to use my XY analog stick to just jog it quickly. So the way I've done it is it starts jogging really slowly so that I can make kind of fine-tune adjustments as I'm moving my spindle around, and then there's an acceleration ramp, so it then picks up and starts jogging really quickly. Don't know if I'm going to leave it like that or not. I think I might just instead make the feed rate slower at the start, as opposed to this kind of stuttering that it does right now. Alright, so that's the hand wheel. Now, utilizing the, that's the analog joystick. So if I want to switch to the MPG, switch to my X-axis there, then I can jog it along. You can see that the software updates in real time, showing what feed rate your spindle is moving in. Okay, why? And of course, Z. And jogging the Z. Alright, so program loading. Let's go to the file menu, and it lists all of the files that are on the SD card, as well as the directory on the machine that it looks for. So let's load up one of these jobs here. Okay, so now that we have a job loaded, I'm actually going to move that Z up a little bit. Let's do an air cut. So I'm going to zero my axes. I could go through and zero them independently, or I can just press this button here to zero them all at the same time. And in order to start the program, I will issue a cycle start. Guess I should have actually checked the the bounds of where it was going to cut. I was afraid it was about to run to the side there. You can see that there's a little indicator that keeps track in real time of where the spindle currently is. If I want to pause the cutting operation, then I can just issue a feed hold. To resume it, I can cycle start. Alright, so now I'm doing a homing cycle. So that's the basics of the control panel so far. I may do a couple other videos showing some additional features, such as the probing module, the camera and so on and so forth. We'll see. All right, thank you.